Hey guys, what's going on? Mongoose XX Music here. It has been quite a while. This channel has been great, honestly. Not that it's as popular as my main channel, Mongoose XX, but it sure racked in some views, I guess, or rather listens, because it's a music channel. But today I'm doing something special. Many of you have actually asked me, how do I make EUROBEAT like this in GarageBand? Because, GarageBand's like GarageBand, that's just it. It's not FL Studio, it's its own thing. But, the first thing you always have to consider is, like, what chord progression you're going to pick. Because that is the, deciding factor in a song. If the chords clash, EUROBEAT's not one to get into complex chord progressions and get all Bartok-y. If you know who Bartok is, he's an old composer who did lots of weird stuff. But no, EUROBEAT's very simple, but it's also very complex at the same time. But I have these synths. These are like pads, sort of. They're long, they hold the note. These are my short, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like the main lead. So yeah, let's get into it. So, the chords. Now, main chords I use, actually, like if I were to talk the notes, I really like A major, A minor, and then G, this G major. No, that's F, sorry. But, as you notice, that sounds really scary for some reason. That one I use after I made it, but almost the main synth when you open up Alchemy Synth is normally, I forget the name, something lead, but using something that like sounds like jumpy and stuff, like this is very Eurobeat. I don't know if you can tell. Like there's a lot of songs like hold something like that. But today, for the purpose, we're gonna just make a simple phrase. So let's start with something like, not those chords. So a lot of songs have like dun 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 dun. It's just whole steps down. So dun 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 dun. It's very simple, very catchy. Lots of dance songs, not just Eurobeat, like dance. Electronic music has that same pattern. Not that it's bad. It's just a very, very used, very good, and just catchy phrase. But we could apply the same to any three notes, like E flat, C, or even B flat, A, of course. Now, you could even change it to go. Adding in that little, these two notes don't sound good together because they're literally half steps of each other. But when you add it in that pattern, dun 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 dun, something like that. So why don't we go with something like that? Now, note placement is very important, like for rhythm, per se. On MIDI, it's actually very easy to do this. So you have a bar of 4/4, this green box. This green rectangle is 1. This is 2, this is 3, this is 4. It's gonna go dun 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 if you listen. So now, depending on what pattern you want to make, lots of Eurobeat songs actually have several patterns. Like da 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 dun 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 dun, or like da 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 da, like to name Crazy for Love. Da 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 da. Lots of 16th notes. And today we're gonna do something simple, like I said. So let's go with a da 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 syncopated beat. So syncopated, basically, it's gonna like drag almost. It's gonna sound like there's another counting. So like da 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 da. See, that's like da da da. You could even make that into a triplet. But to get that in MIDI, we can just simply, so duh. So that would be the and of 2. Now it's not on the and of 2, it's on the E of 2. 2 E and a. So basically what it means is 16th note is 1 E and a. That's the spaces of a 16th note. And the 8th note is 1 and 1 plus. But it's kind of hard to tell when the notes drag or all. Da da. So I think it's going to be on the E of 1. Yep. Da da. You hear it? So now, see how that's one little square? Da 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 da. Now, ending this, because you could syncopate forever, and it'll sound really off. So I'm gonna go dun 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 dun. Now, why don't we move this to something that's a little easier to hear? A short pattern like this. So that is not correct. It should be dun 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 dun. Not dun 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 dun. So let's try. See, guys, even I mess up, okay? There it is. Dun 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 dun. And Mortal Kombat, if you heard that, very similar. Dun 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 dun. Or, you know what it sounds like. So look how those are all the same length of little notes. The placement, look. So every other placement is in between 2 of the designated spaces. You see that? So for this one, if we want to syncopate it, we put it right there. But then this one, we put here. But then this one, we put here. So let's try that. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun. Now, to make it interesting, you add notes that are not a part of that bass line. Dun 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 dun, but they fit. So something like dun 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 dun. Yeah. Da 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 na 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 na. Also, guys, I have a few songs in the works right now. I think I'm gonna stray away from the album way of releasing right now, and I'm just gonna make singles just to try some stuff. I need to be more active because I'm losing listens. But some of you guys probably know I am on Spotify, but all the songs have not been uploaded yet. Dun 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 dun. So I'm gonna change that up. Dun 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 dun. The key to Eurobeat is you want to make it interesting. You don't want to be just so uniform that it just sounds. You want to improvise, but also don't. there's a lot of different types of Eurobeat. Like I've heard people use blues scales, like jazz, like jazzy Eurobeat. I know that sounds weird, but I mean, I guess it's not jazz, but it's just notes. But certain chords and scales and harmonies have their own genres that just work with them. So, look here. These two notes are like completely different from this A right here. But if you look, that's an A minor chord that I've built slowly. It's not a chord, but that's the roots of it. Dun 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 dun. Then we copy that measure. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this will probably sound a lot better. And then you have, basically, my rule is I always make a four measure loop, pretty much. And you take this, I always copy it. I don't loop my stuff, like I don't press the loop button. I copy it and paste it because you never know if you're going to change something. But then you layer it with another one. But my most used synths are, my oldest one is Airy Synth Lead. I've had that since the beginning, before I even released stuff. But Super Saw Lead, if I have it on here. Yeah, I don't have it on here. But Jump Brass I made on my own. I recorded my own personal keyboard. Get different sound. Actually, I'll show you guys right now. It's a sample. It's kind of that sound, Jump Brass. But let's see, basses that I use, pumped infinity bass and modern 80s bass, because if you listen to Eurobeat from like the 90s, it sounds really like 80s music that's sped up, but not entirely. And these basses, here I'll show you, on their own, I mean, they're not the... This one's not supposed to be arpeggiated, but hold on, let me shut that off. So that is basically kind of what the melody is doing, except with bass. Da 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 dun 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 dun. Remember that note pattern? Cool. Pumped infinity bass, a little more like, I think they both sound really cool together. You're probably thinking my layering's messed up. I kind of put pads at the bottom, mics in between, leads, and then bass, and then 4 drums. Now drums. How do you do drums? Well, drums have their own sort of MIDI, if you think about it. It's actually really handy. Instead of having to hit the notes all by themselves. I like that. In Eurobeat drums, there's no question. I mean, you can have little fill-ins for like little breaks in the song, but you never really put like a whole, drum piece. We're saying maybe someone has. I think it's kind of weird to do that. Eurobeat's not that type of music. But really, dance music, if you listen, it's either just, or you hear this a lot. And if we slow it down, it might even sound more familiar. A lot of 80s music, I know I'm not from there, but I've listened to a lot of music. A lot of 80s music has this sound and different sounds. But tempos for Eurobeat normally range from 140 to 165-ish. Going above that's just play fast. So if you notice, the metronome's on 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the thing, is the hi-hats, open hi-hats are on 1 and 2 and 3 and. And let's give it the. But that doesn't sound as good as on its own. And I used to just use 8th note hi-hats. That I don't like that as much, but I really love the when he and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See what I mean? You got toms. It sounds really cool. That's the beauty of like MIDI. I know this isn't as like complex as making the music, like playing it yourself, but this is so much simpler. Sorry, my dogs are barking. So much simpler for something like this. So much easier. But let's turn on the drums. Oh, that's why it went wrong. Sorry, I was like, okay, let's try that again. I messed it up. So now we have the drums, and we have the synth. Now, bass, let's do next. So, bass, just like the hi-hats, is on the and counts, not on the one. Well, okay, you can either do bass like this, do octave bass, like. You know what I'm saying? Or you can do it, which I think sounds a little bit better. Your choice. Octave bass, you just gotta choose a good bass. It doesn't have really weird sounding octaves. So this song starts with dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun. So that's where I messed up. Dun 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 dun. There it is. That's the full bass line right there. Perfect. There it is. There's the bass. Easy as that. Then you take that and whatever basses you have, I normally have 4, you put them in to their respective neighbors. And basically, all that's left is chords and layers. See how cool that all sounds together? Ba, 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 ba. Perfect, right? So now, this synth right here, we're going to leave that alone. Dun, dun. Actually, we're going to copy this and put it in a main synth like Dance Anthem, which sounds, I love Dance Anthem. It sounds so good. But let's just go, actually, what I find helps is you isolate only one that you're trying to work on. And then, look what you got. Perfect, right? So, what chords? So, like I said, this is in A minor. So that other. So, what we'll do, since this follows its chord progression, we'll just fill in the chords and make the same placement. And it's going to sound way cool. And this is going to be a pretty simple dun, dun, dun. And sometimes some synths act weird, and they only play 2 notes at a time. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Oh, oops, messed it up. Okay, let's turn on a bass so we can hear this. Dun 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 dun. So we got that part done, right? Dun 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 dun. That will be a major. A C major chord. It should work. What the heck? That sounded like the same. Oh, it's literally the same chord. Wait, hold on. I'm doing something wrong. Dun dun dun. Oh, these 2 notes sound the same, so hold on. Maybe we'll try. Da da da. Sorry, guys. Dun dun. Oh crap! Okay, we'll just wait for it. That sounds interesting, honestly, the chords. What is that? It's the same as before. Dun dun. That's interesting. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so that's done. And honestly, I'm a little surprised with the outcome. I think I might have screwed up the chord progression, but it kind of sounds cool. So let's plug it into Airy Synthly. Let's have a listen with that. Yeah, so listen to the difference. So some synths have a dominant root. They basically pick a note to play to dominate the sound more. So listen, this one sounds like more dun 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 dun. Dance Anthem sounds dun, 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 dun. Listen, the first note sounds like an E, but this note sounds like an A. See the difference? Or hear the difference? So that's what makes this interesting, is when you layer it with different synths, it does this all the time. And it makes really cool sound. That ending is interesting. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, some synths also only play 1 note at a time, and it sounds really cool when you plug in like a chord into it, because it like freaks out at you. So yeah, let's keep layering. Basically, just fill up your whole synth. So now, what are we missing? So this needs to be filled up more. So that's what we started with, guys. That's what we started with. Dun, dun, dun. And then we got to this. If you ask me. So, now from here, I think we should do some. But we don't have to. But let's listen to the finished product. So that sounds freaking sick, if you ask me. And we made that in, I don't know how many minutes. Basically, from here, I think I'll do a part 2 on how to make the rest of the song. But this is probably the most important part of the song. This is what gets people going. This is what gets people to go. Basically. But yeah, that's it. So one thing that's cool about GarageBand, if you want to like copy this thing, you guys can. All I ask is that you change the key. Go here, A flat. Listen, it's a half step down. That sounds sick, guys. Please use this. Like, if you guys want to use this pattern as your own, I'm totally for it, honestly. Like, I'm not saying you should just always use other people's. Like, in fact, some of my songs take heavy inspiration from other, rock songs, EUROBEAT songs, any song that I think sounds cool. I'll always try and put it in. In fact, my current project, I am covering a Van Halen song. I'm making a EUROBEAT version, but instead of putting the lyrics over from the song, I'm gonna sing the lyrics myself. But yeah. But yeah, from here, there's like the dun 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 dun, and then it ends. Boo dun 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 dun. Do dun 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 dun. There's whatever, and then it gets to the middle. Dun 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 dun. There's a build up. Dun 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 dun. So that middle section always has some tension. There's always it's like about to release basically, and then the next part, I always forget the names of these like chorus and stuff. But the next part, that's when it's like dun 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 dun. The big part, the name of the song. And I'm sorry if I'm being cringe, guys. Just trying to be myself and expressive. Trying to help you guys make EUROBEAT. But yeah, basically that. Now, some things you can do that are cool with GarageBand is stuff like this.